got all the way to the divisional round on the playoffs, but now reports say they could trade Matthew Stafford. James, that was almost a hot mic moment.
You know what I'm saying?
Chase,
See over there.
you said this yesterday. You alluded to it. You didn't say it with your chest, so I didn't know how seriously
Well, I
to take
did.
you.
You guys didn't take me serious, though.
So now I'm taking you seriously, though, big dog. Would it be crazy for the Rams to trade Matthew Stafford?
Chase,
Would it be
he knows
crazy?
something.
At first, maybe I know something. You know, at first thought when I heard this, I said, "You're crazy." He took you to the playoffs the last 2 years. He brought you a Super Bowl, and then the more you think about it, the less crazy it gets for me.
Okay.
I could see them, the Rams, trying to sell high. You have a declining asset. Eventually, he's 37, 38, with a very high value right now. That's worth a lot. You could potentially, I'm not just throwing this out there, get a first or a second round pick for him. And you might not have to pay him $50 million a year, which I heard is what he wants. So even though we view, or at least I view Matthew Stafford as a top 5 quarterback, you got to think about it from the Rams side. And Sean McVay took Jared Goff, with Jared Goff-led team, to the Super Bowl.
And lost.
But he took him to the Super Bowl. So a lot of it has to do with that offense that they run. Like, we know Stafford's a top 5 opinion. The only issue is, like, where does Stafford go? One. And then who do you bring in to replace him? Because we talked about the free agent quarterbacks. Is it Rodgers? Which I think that Rodgers wants to go play for McVay and the Rams. They're a contender. We talked about it last block. But then who else is it? There's Russell Wilson. Do you look on your roster for Jimmy G? Because I know it's crazy.
So crazy or not then, Chase? Is it crazy or not?
I said when I first thought about it, it was. But now that I've got some information, I don't think it's as crazy as people think.
See, I think this is the problems. Like, y'all, these GMs got these beautiful offices. They looking over the water and all this type of stuff. They dumb. No. I'm trying to figure out, like, what's the goal, dog? The goal is to win the Super Bowl. So you saying Cooper Kupp, you're not good enough, we're going to trade you, because we always said that.
Yeah.
Now we're saying a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League, we want to let you walk or trade you and bring in my brother that's 40 years old, that's not coming off of an elite year wins-wise, and you saying we want to replace you with Matthew Stafford, who took you to the playoffs 2 years in a row with a roster that really ain't all that good.
Correct.
So are y'all trying to rebuild? Like, make it make sense to me. It's not that hard to be a GM. I got a top 5 quarterback. Let's try to keep him. I got a top 5 receiver. Let's try to restructure him. If he making a lot of money, keep him with Puka Nacua. You know what? We got some draft picks. Let's go into the draft, get some more people, and let's go in free agency. Because you know what? We are a slide protection away from going to the NFC Championship in L.A.
That's a good point.
In L.A., you're going to play the Commanders in L.A., and we over here trying to get rid of Stafford, Cooper Kupp. It's not that hard to be a GM. It ain't that hard. Keep your good players. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Would you
It's a crazy conversation.
Look, it's not as crazy as you think, James.
I'd rather have Matthew Stafford over any quarterback that's coming out of the draft or any quarterback that's in free agency. That's all that's available.
Stafford probably has 2 to 3 years max.
Perfect.
Listen,
Yeah.
do you want to pay him $150 million over that time? Or do you want to go a different route?
I
where
bet you win a championship, though.
Yeah, that's the question.
I get
What are we
it, but I'm just saying, looking toward the future, I don't think they want to pay him $50 million a year.
I don't disagree with that concept. Here's where I disagree. The Rams have never looked towards the future. Remember, the Rams made T-shirts that said F them picks. Like, the Rams have never looked towards the future. Why would you start now? James, you said something is brilliant. You don't trade Matthew Stafford and get better. I don't know if there's a quarterback you can trade Matthew Stafford for and confidently say you'll get better. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow included. I don't know if there's any quarterback on the planet who you can just trade Stafford for and say, yeah, we got better today. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the next tomorrow, but not today. Yeah. So you don't trade Stafford and get better. Chase, if it was a different franchise, if it was the Philadelphia Eagles, if y'all remember Howie Roseman once said upon a time, I want to have a quarterback factory. If it was a different franchise, I might go with you. But Sean McVay contemplates retirement after every season. Sean McVay is a here-today coach. He did the Fox pregame broadcast not because he needs to. Sean McVay contemplated retirement just 2 years ago.
Yeah, and he's fully all in now.
And then the next year is like, you know what? I might retire. Like, Sean McVay is always playing. He's doing all things. Again, he did our Super Bowl pregame show of all the coaches in the league.
Too, Sean.
Exactly. And why you think he did it? Not because he's bored. He didn't do it because he's bored. He did it because he's like, you know what? Let me keep my foot in my next job while I'm in my current job. I think it's crazy for the Rams because the Rams are only ever focused on today. Don't change that thought up now.
Yeah, no, I love everything that you two just said. We cool, but this, I think it'll be crazy. I mean, you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? And you have a winner now. Like, we all talk about how great the Eagles are and all that, which we are a great team, but we won't be real because I was at that game. I mean, they were one play away from going to the NC Championship game.
Yeah.
And hosting it at home. And now we talking about, do we want to pair a quarterback? And it's funny to me because I look around the league, like, that's why when it comes to GMs and ownerships and all that, like, I'll take it with a grain of salt because I know ball. Like, and just because you have a higher power and you can make these moves, don't make you know everything. Don't make you right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you contemplating if we should get rid of Stafford?
Yeah.
And you look at other teams like the Jaguars, they never gonna go nowhere. Your quarterback is terrible and he has a lot of money.
Yeah. Look,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you prioritize what you want in life, right? If I'm a team, do I want championships now or I want them later? Because I want them now.
Yep.
And you have the team to do it. The defense is going to be way better next year. Your
think their
superstars
team is-
on
yeah,
defense is
I
going to
agree
be
with you.
great
I agree
next
with you
year.
on that. Their
And then
D-line.
your offense is really, really good.
Yeah. I think that, like,
Tripping.
it's not as crazy. Like, I understand. He's a great player. It's not as crazy in the NFL world as some people think.
Have we seen it before then? Give me that. If it's not that crazy, we would have seen it before. And I know that we have to some
definitely
capacity,
have.
but is there anything?
But I'm just saying that the only people that know Matthew Stafford the best is those people in the building. They
Right.
see him every single day. Matthew is one of, like, I played with him. He was in my draft class. I played with him in Detroit in 2020. He's one of the strongest, like, toughest dudes I've ever met. The dude's always hurt, though. Like, he's always ended up playing through it. It hasn't affected his play to some instances. It's a knee, it's a that. Maybe they're seeing some. I'm not saying this. Like, personally, I would love Stafford to stay in LA because I think they're going to be great with a really young roster. But at the same time, guys, we're forgetting the fact, maybe Sean McVay's saying, do we really need him at the $50 million mark? Maybe he gets more, maybe less, whatever. Because I took Jared Goff and helped him get us to a Super Bowl. When Jared Goff, we didn't know if he was really like that.
But that team was
You know,
really, that team was pretty
I
good.
agree,
though,
but
bro.
I believe they're so young.
But how about this, though?
Saving the money, building, getting some picks. Maybe it's a reversal of stuff. Maybe they're not as far away as some people think. I agree with you 1,000%, Acho. I do not think they get better right away without Matthew Stafford. I'm just saying this move could be for the future.
See, we getting caught up in, well, you are. You're getting caught up in this GM stuff. Because
I would like to be a GM.
even when you pay a quarterback and he signs 5 years, you're not paying him for them 5 years. Because them last 2 years in this deal, if he does ball out, you're going to restructure. If he don't ball out, you're finna cut him, you're finna try to trade him or what. So why aren't we paying Matthew Stafford for 2 to 3 more years if we think he has 2 to 3 more good years in him and you've been in the playoffs back-to-back years?
Yeah.
When you're done,
ain't hard,
listen,
dog.
you can get a you can get a king's ransom right now for Matthew
Good.
Stafford.
That's smart.
And who are you getting, though?
Forget about that for a second, James. Just you could get a king's ransom for it. Do you want to say in 3 years we don't have another Super Bowl and we paid a guy that was aging $150 million, or do you want to stockpile some picks, try to figure out a guy that can play well in Sean McVay's system, and go on? Look, I agree.
So what's your-
I tend to think more personally, I would keep him. I'm just saying there are people out there that believe this could be the way they go.
So Mr.
You know this year was supposed to be a rebuilding year for these guys, right?
And they still want
Aaron Donald, one of my good friends. And I'm not saying this is the reason why he retired, but, he had a great career, right? 10th year, he said, I made it to where I want to get at. He said, also, when I look at my team, like, we kind of young. And maybe we kind of, rebuilding a little bit. They went to the freaking playoffs, man.
Divisional round.
And the divisional round at that.
eye protection
right?
away, bro.
And I'm thinking, like, they don't get there without Matthew Stafford.
Of course not. Of course not.
All the in and outs of the lineup, guys been hurt. Puka was gone for a while. Cooper Kupp be going a lot.
Yeah.
And Stafford was still there, still delivering wins.
Maybe they're trying to get the old